I'd like you to take one last look at the 18th century that I can think of right now. A movie, not nearly as great a movie as Amadeus, but nonetheless a very good movie for my purposes. It's called The Madness of King George. It was done in 1994, I think, 1994. It did not win the Academy Award Best Picture, but it won Academy Awards. King George III in England went crazy for part of his reign. Porphyra, I think, is the disease he had. That kind of madness is we would call that insanity in American English. Anyway, it's about that, and because of the costume and the set, you see the 18th century at its height in England. I don't think it's quite as staggering as it was in Austria, in Vienna, but nonetheless, you see the white wigs and all that, but it's also a little bit later. Things are changing, and we're about to go into the Romantic period, as a matter of fact. Well, anyway, here, Britain shall prevail. That's rather chauvinistic about Britain. That's the name of the channel, though, that has it on there. No subtitles. You can hear it real clearly. Parts 7 and 8. This is on YouTube. I recommend it. Highly recommend it. And if you will start right at the beginning of part 7, King George has got his mind back for a while, and he's sitting outside, and they're reading aloud King Lear, Shakespeare's play King Lear, and it is so cleverly used, because in King Lear, Lear goes crazy, and that's where he's been. And it's just so well used. The Puritan doctor has no appreciation of it. Remember, the Puritans did not approve of plays and Shakespeare, so he's rather disgusted by it all. And also, it deals with the fact that, I told you about this, that King Lear, for 100 years or so, it was changed because it was too tragic. Miraculously, Cordelia didn't die at the end the way they changed it before they went back. Well, also, Handel's music. I believe every note that you hear, the whole way through The Madness of King George, was composed by George Frederick Handel. It's kind of ironic in a way that it says Britain shall prevail, because Handel, see, he is so prized by the English. Well, he was German, but then he adopted England. I had told you about that already. And you see, at the very end, you see them standing in front of Christopher Wren's masterpiece, St. Paul's Cathedral in London, which looks the same now as it did at that time. Well, usually you get to the end of a movie and you don't pay attention to the credits, or most people don't. But if you do this, during the credits, you will hear performed Zadok the Priest by Handel. And it's worth listening to, because there's a series of arpeggios, like 8 times every chord. It just keeps going through the chords. There's no melody, really. There are arpeggios, and the chord changes every 4 or 8 beats. But the harmony, if you just follow the harmony, it builds a harmonic tension. Where it's one of the things I like about Baroque music is you sort of know where things are going. And by the end of that, you are so sure that you know what the next chord is going to be, and you're right. That when it comes, it explodes upon you in the song. And I've seen this used before at fireworks. A documentary about fireworks, which sometimes I'll show the students, because right at the point where the harmony resolves, you call that it resolves to the chord that you expect. Right there is when the fireworks go off. So please look at that. Boy, my poor barn swallows. I see 2 of them sitting like this. It snowed close to here. The weather got so cold. I hope they find something to eat. They've been quiet today. All right, I'll see you tomorrow, and starting tomorrow, we're going to start to get romantic.